All right, so that's the YMCA there. We were trying to get kung fu classes started there, but I guess they already got some guy teaching white crane, which is a really good style. I've never done it firsthand, but I've heard about it, and Sifu Dave had good things to say about it, so that's pretty cool that they got somebody doing that there. It's nice to know that there are people keeping some of the really cool classical arts alive. You can kind of see over there that old, I guess not, it's kind of dark. I guess it's so bright here, everything's dim over there, but there's like a kind of like an empty skeleton of like a thing that used to have like a tarp. It was basically a little place where there were like tables and stuff where people could eat and be out of the rain. Right now there's no tarps over it. But anyway, one day when it rained, way back when Sifu Dave was teaching over here at the park, that's when we came and did some classes under here, which probably aren't allowed to do. It's probably like YMCA property, but nobody said anything. So yeah, I went and checked out the building we're supposed to be getting. I'm not 100% sure we're gonna get it or not, but we definitely want it. And it got me excited. I mean, you know, I definitely love simplicity. I definitely love minimal stress and whatnot, but I like the idea of Sifu Dave and I getting that building and starting up a school. I think it'll be fun. It'll definitely be a new experience for me. I have to start recruiting students, which I've never really actively done. And it'll be really still sick, as you can hear, really new for me to teach a bigger class, like I've mentioned in some of my other videos. So yeah, it was cool seeing the place, and it was cool talking about some of the things we'd like to do during class today while I was training. Yeah, I really hope we get that building. That'd be super, super cool. So, man, I've been sick a long time, but I think I figured out what it was. You know, silliness, but you hold certain beliefs and believe certain stereotypes and whatnot all your life about certain things, and then you find out that they're not all true, and that makes you be kind of an idiot and do a complete 180 and trust the other side of the coin too much. And so a few months ago I went vegan, and you know, you always think of like the pale, anemic, scrawny, weak stereotype for that, and people are always asking them where they get all their protein and whatnot. But then you like see all these guys who are all strong and doing stuff good, and like you hear that there's a lot of misconceptions and whatnot. So there are a lot of vegans that say as long as you get enough calories, you get enough protein. That very well could be true for a normal person with normal activity level. But if you are a strength athlete, you need more protein than just whatever you randomly get by randomly eating. I mean, unless you randomly eat just the perfect things, but that's not highly likely. Anyway, probably since I'm 40 and been doing this strength training a long time, and I'm no longer going forward but instead slowly going backwards, I was probably kind of burnt out on always focusing on my macronutrients and whatnot. And plus, like, I hadn't had to really put that much effort in it over the years because I kind of had an idea of what most things had. I've been doing it so long. But now my diet's been completely altered, So I don't have like that automatic routine. And so basically I think I really neglected my proteins. So that's why I've been sick and getting injured. And man, yesterday I woke up because my back was all messed up and like I couldn't even breathe and stuff. I'm like, holy cow, this is messed up. So like I had this good vegan protein stuff. It's basically like chia seeds, hemp protein, and brown rice protein with some fiber in it. And I had like 40 grams of protein from that and took it pretty easy, and then went to work. I had a big spaghetti dinner and another thing of protein, and then went to work. And work went real smooth and nice, and then when I came home I had one more thing. Plus I had my Cliff Bar protein bars when I was at work because I can't go the full shift without eating. And so yeah, that helped. That like fixed me up. My back wasn't all messed up anymore, so I'm gonna start trying to be better about that now and see what I can do. I think it'll be cool to maybe get some strength back, because not be sick anymore. I haven't been liking it. So anyway, this right here, this is the park where we first started training when I started with Sifu Dave. I had been training with Sifu John for about 4 years. Yeah, probably a little longer, like right around 4 years when I started with Sifu Dave. And I had just gotten my black belt a few months before, and Sifu Dave was like the next logical step to continue my forward progress. And so this little flat area that's all shady and hard to see is where we'd spend a lot of time, but obviously we use this hill a lot as well. So this is where I started training with Sifu Dave. At the time, he had about half a dozen students or so. There was Officer John, who's like a, I think he's like a Pacific Islander, some type of Asian mix. So don't know exactly what type, but he's a pretty big guy. He's about 5'11", 225 when he's in shape. He was enormous when I first met him because he had let his weight problem get out of control way back in 2010 when Grandmaster Jinfun Mark came to visit. All of us were at the house, including the Kali World Master that Sifu Dave and I are training under right now. We all were there to pay respects to Jinfun Mark, and at the time, Officer John was really, really big. He was like 370 pounds or something. And this was around the time when Sifu John was a similar size. He hadn't quite gotten up past the 400 barrier yet. He was still 370, 380 at the time. So you just saw these like two enormous guys. But Officer John decided to turn his life around. I don't remember how long it took, probably a couple years or something, but he brought himself down to a real trim, lean, healthy 225 pounds or so. I think he's maybe like 240-ish now, but he's in pretty good shape still. So yeah, he was one of the students. He started with Dave, I think, a couple years before I did. And then we had this guy Tommy, who studied Eskrima, the Filipino stick fighting. Kali's also a Filipino stick fighting, but they're a little bit different. They're both really good. Eskrima is the one that Dan and Santo took, Bruce Lee's famous pupil. So there was also this old Tai Chi guy named Bill, and gosh, oh yeah, there was like this mom and a couple of her daughters, and that's all that's coming to mind right now. But Yeah, it was a pretty good little class back then. I definitely like more being Sifu Dave's disciple and having all my private lessons with him, with the occasional really good student showing up on Wednesday night to interact with, like my training partner Brian, or Officer John comes back sometimes. He's been with Sifu Dave over 6 years now, so he's really sharp and good at what he does. So that's fun. Anyway, I'm gonna try to get in a good training session. Just super excited about that building and the thought that maybe we're gonna be building a school. I love that. It's something I've wanted to do a long time, and it's cool seeing that it might actually be happening now. So anyway, hope you have a great day.